Happy weekend to you all, North Alabama, and welcome to the Fox 54 Weekend Review. I'm Kenesha Dees. It's been another busy week across the region, and we have a 40-minute long edition of the program to bring you this week. We'll summarize our local coverage from the past 7 days. For instance, Alabama A&M University is educating the public about its hemp cultivation program. We'll take you along for a tour of the greenhouse. We're also going to Limestone County, where rapid growth is leading school leaders to consider rezoning students across several campuses. We'll hear from concerned parents, and you'll come with us to Monrovia Volunteer Fire Department's push-in ceremony for a new piece of equipment, where fire officials will share just what makes this truck so unique for the area. But we'll start at the state capitol in Montgomery, where this week the 2024 state legislation has begun. Lawmakers will be tackling topics on everything from education spending to capital punishment. Some of their bills may be considered controversial, but every bill, if passed, would be far-reaching and would have far-reaching impacts to everyone here in the Tennessee Valley. Alabama legislative session starts tomorrow, and lawmakers are expected to take up legislation on a number of hot topics, like abortion, where multiple bills are introduced on the subject. House Bill 31 would allow for abortions in cases of rape and incest, and House Bill 80, which would authorize abortions to preserve the life of the mother. Criminal justice is also on the docket. House Bill 41 would allow law enforcement agencies to release body camera footage when a request is made, unless it interferes with an investigation. And on a more local level, House Bill 40 would authorize a property tax exemption to taxpayers ages 65 and older under certain conditions in Lauderdale. All right, many hot topic issues like abortion rights will be introduced during this year's Alabama legislative session. Our Ken McCoy spoke with Minority Leader Anthony Daniels on a bill he first introduced back in 2019.
Abortion has been a hot topic since the reversal of Roe v. Wade back in 2022. In the year following that decision, the pace of new legislation on abortion has been swift, leaving it in the hands of the states. During this Alabama legislative session, 4 bills will be introduced. House Bill 80, abortion authorized to preserve the life of the mother. House Bill 31, abortion, rape, and incest exceptions. House Bill 45, abortion providing misdemeanor to reduce abortion appeal, and Senate Bill 13, abortion, right to make reproductive decisions established, states prohibited from restricting abortions in certain circumstances. House Bill 31 was first introduced by Alabama Minority Leader Anthony Daniels back in 2019. We spoke earlier today about the importance of that bill, and here's what he has to say.
What you're beginning to see physicians that are very skeptical of performing miscarriages even today because of the lack of clarity in the law. This is not going to be a silver bullet, but it will give mothers and others an opportunity that's rape, right, or incest, an opportunity to be able to have an abortion. And so I think that you'll find that when you look at national polling data, that Republicans also agree with this. This is a great starting point to have deeper and larger conversations.
Outside of abortion, other conversations will be had.
I pray and hope that we put partisanship to the side and focus on issues that's going to solve the problems of Alabamians. Child care will be a huge issue. You'll see a lot of partisan bills based upon the presidential cycle. And so you'll see a number of pieces of legislation out there that has a tremendous amount of impact on both sides of the aisle, as they call it, red meat issues. Issues that deal with voting. We'll be focusing on access. They'll be focusing on suppression.
Local organizations respond to a proposed bill called Senate Bill 1, or SB 1. This bill threatens to charge individuals with a crime for assisting those who ask for help to exercise their voting rights through using an absentee ballot. Our Jasmine Bird hears from local advocacy groups who say the bill has to be stopped.
SB 1 will prohibit our most vulnerable citizens from being able to receive the necessary help that is needed to vote absentee.
Senate Bill 1 would prohibit any person from ordering, requesting, collecting, pre-filling, or delivering an absentee ballot application or absentee ballot to a voter in certain circumstances. Limestone County NAACP Political Action Chair Diane Steele believes this is a major inconvenience.
We have people that are homebound, people that are in nursing homes. So, for us to come up with a way to prevent these citizens from having access to the ballot is very unfair in our opinion.
If charged initially, there is a misdemeanor charge. However, if there is cash exchanged or cash offered for this assistance, then it becomes both Class B and Class C felony. For Lift Our Vote lead organizer Gloria Hollins, that's not the only pressing concern.
One of the things that we largely don't discuss is the digital divide. And just having access to getting an application to fill out an absentee ballot can pose a challenge. Now, this application is available on the Secretary of State's website, but if you can't operate the internet enough to get onto the internet, how are you going to get to a website, sift through information to get what you want to get? And what is the likelihood that you have a printer with ink?
There are also some exceptions to SB 1. Among them, it shall not be a violation if an individual of the voter's choosing provides assistance to a voter due to the voter being blind, disabled, or unable to read or write. A public hearing will be held tomorrow at 1:30 in Montgomery at the Capitol in room 852.
Join us to speak against this bill.
Senator Tommy Tuberville has been a vocal supporter of regulating name, image, and likeness deals. And today, he and Senator Manchin unveiled a new bill that they say will protect student athletes and preserve the integrity of college sports. The Protecting Athletes, Schools, and Sports Act, or PASS Act, would create a national standard for NIL contracts. One of these protections would require collectives and boosters to be affiliated with a college or school. They say the PASS Act would also improve transparency of NIL activities and moderate the transfer portal. To learn more about what this PASS Act entails, visit our website. A statewide lottery may just be the future, Alabama's future. That is, this week lawmakers unveiled a gaming bill that could authorize a state lottery and 10 casinos across the state. Lawmakers estimate the proposal could provide more than $800 million in annual revenue to the state. If approved by 3/5 of lawmakers, the proposal would be put on the ballot for voters to decide. At this week's State of the State address, Governor Kay Ivey spoke on her support for the proposal.
This year, when Alabamians make their way to the ballot box, I hope they will be voting on another issue, gaming. I believe the current proposal being contemplated by the legislature is good for Alabama. It will crack down on illegal gambling, and it will responsibly regulate limited forms of legal gaming, including a statewide lottery.
Alabama is one of few states without a state lottery after lawmakers in 1999 rejected a proposal to allow one. Ivey outlined legislative goals, including economic growth, education, and health care. She spoke on Alabama's historically low unemployment rate and her administration's economic investments that she says totals $48 billion, creating 86,000 new jobs. Ivey also touted her plans to improve health care in the state's most rural areas. One of her top priorities for this year's session is education. The governor wants to improve the state's education system by becoming more school choice friendly through the CHOOSE Act, as well as ensure full funding for the Numeracy and Literacy Acts.
School choice is a spectrum. And last year, we recognized that to expand our options in Alabama, we had to first improve our existing options. This program will be effective and sustainable, and it will serve as a catalyst for making Alabama the most school choice friendly state in the nation for years to come. Ensuring our students are proficient readers and ready for the next grade is simply too critical.
To read and watch Governor Ivey's full State of the State address, visit our website.
And we know the identity of the suspect who allegedly stabbed his two roommates at their home on Mountain Gap Road last night, killing one of them and seriously injuring the other. You're looking at 27-year-old Lester Cruz. He has been charged with murder and aggravated assault, and he's been booked into the Madison County Jail. Now, Cruz was arrested when Huntsville police responded to the 400 block of Mountain Gap Road last night. Police say once they arrived, they found two victims with life-threatening injuries. One of the victims, 40-year-old Zanella Pena Sandoval, was later pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators believe an argument led up to the stabbing, and the case still remains under investigation. Well, Larry Palmer, the Iron City man accused of hitting someone with his truck over in Florence last night, appeared in court today. You'll recall Palmer was charged with attempted murder after he allegedly sped up, swerved, and hit a 68-year-old in the Hugh Road Walmart parking lot Wednesday. Witnesses say he aggressively ran into the victim, knocking them to the ground. Palmer then got out of the truck with a gun in hand, and the victim ran into the store to get away. Palmer left the scene but was later found at a local hospital. Now today, a judge granted a release order. Palmer posted a $150,000 bond and is now under house arrest with an ankle monitor. Palmer has been ordered to surrender all firearms and have no contact with the victim's family, or anyone at the victim's workplace. While a proposed rock quarry in Belmina still has some residents and community leaders in the area in an uproar. Now they're doing everything in their power to put a stop to it. A Stop the Quarry community meeting was held last night, and our Jasmine Bird spoke with organizers who share an update on their ongoing concerns.
You're talking about an impoverished community that is doesn't have the means to repair their homes now, much less if blasting begins.
And for Belmina Methodist Church minister Cody Gillum, that's only the community's first concern.
The fact that their insurance has already gone up because there's not fire coverage out there. And in order for them to get a home appraisal and to get someone to take professional photos of their home for an engineer to make a report, it's going to cost close to $2,000 per person.
The area is also karst terrain, which refers to the land the area is built on.
So what that means is when you have a well in a karst area and then you start blasting and you start digging and you start reaching the water table, what's going to happen is the water table is going to change to the point where people's wells are going to run dry.
The next concern is potential health dangers that come along with the proposed rock quarry.
If you have any kind of genetic predisposition to have lung disease, this is going to be a major concern because there'll be silica particles in the air.
Pulmonary toxicologist Dr. Janice Manning believes one of the primary concerns is silicosis.
Because that's a byproduct of the limestone, crushing limestone, which is the objective of the quarry, obviously. But the studies have shown that people who live in the vicinity of a quarry have several adverse health effects, including increased lung disease, increased heart disease, increased asthma, adverse effects on pregnancies, including increased infant mortality and birth defects. Studies have shown that children who grow up near quarries, by the time they turn 18, they have a smaller lung size than children that are not near the quarry. The other population is elderly. There is a decreased life expectancy among the elderly who live near quarries. So these are serious, to me, these are very serious health issues that need to be explored before anyone considers a quarry going in next to this wonderful community.
Belmina Methodist Church minister Cody Gillum says for residents with COPD or any kind of genetic predisposition to have lung disease, this is going to be a major concern.
Because there'll be silica particles in the air, and you'll get a disease that is rendered from that, and it'll cause you to ultimately suffocate and die. And that'll be just because of the blasting and all the particles that are put in the air.
Dr. Thornton Manning says when it boils down to it, that's what this fight is all about. These very small particles being breathed into the lungs.
And the smaller ones actually get into the bloodstream. And that's what causes all this damage to occur in the human body, is from that inhalation of these small particles.
In Belmina, Jasmine Bird, Fox 54 News.
If there's an ounce of integrity, I would ask that your love for the city will allow you to step down and let someone else take that seat. Amen.
You just heard it, a heated moment at tonight's Decatur City Council session. Council member Billy Jackson calls for Mayor Tab Bowling to resign. Jackson accused Bowling of essentially entering, quote, paid retirement since announcing his desire not to seek re-election last fall. Jackson then said Bowling is systemically deciding not to listen to his citizens' concerns by not staying for public comment. And Jackson said when he himself tried to connect a citizen with another city department, he accused Bowling of trying to take him to task.
Later that night, I got a text from Tab, and it said, "You should not go directly to directors regarding needs. You are nothing more than a citizen." So what I did was I just did 3 crying, laughing emojis. And then when I sent that, he said, "You act as though you are a supervisor."
Jackson suggested District 5 council member and meeting chair Jacob Ladner would make a suitable replacement as mayor. Bowling stayed long enough to listen to Jackson's statement, then left the meeting. And at tonight's City Council meeting, an ordinance revision for Decatur's parade permit was approved unanimously. These changes provide more context as to when a permit is required. With this approval, permits do not apply to demonstrations or protests that would be conducted upon public sidewalks, parks, or other public spaces not previously reserved, and does not interfere with pedestrian or traffic flow. Now, Councilmember Hunter Pepper weighing in on the conflict between Councilmember Jackson and the mayor last night. Pepper says he thinks Jackson should resign. He told us, in quote, "Billy should step down. He's been here since the Stone Ages and hasn't done a thing for the city. He talks about leadership and wisdom, but isn't taking steps to lead the city. He's a hypocrite," end quote. Decatur residents seeking justice in the death of Steve Perkins. The job of making their voices heard doesn't stop when the sun goes down. The Night Shift is a group of protesters who essentially take the second shift in keeping the fight for justice of Steve Perkins alive. They are also trying to change the perception of what protesters are seen as by giving back to those in need.
We've been trying to keep up the visibility in order for people not to forget and to continuously trying to fight for justice for Steve Perkins. I feel like we've put out the best message we possibly can. I don't necessarily know that we are being heard by City Council. We really want to show the community, because sometimes we've been called by certain members of elected officials in Decatur called agitators, and that we are becoming violent, that we are bullying, and that is farthest from the truth. We have been peacefully protesting, and we want to honor the memory of Steve Perkins by giving back to the community. So we are having a fundraiser and for Hands Across Decatur so that we can help the people who are most needing in Decatur.
Well, members of the Night Shift have also said they are petitioning for the DOJ to investigate the Steve Perkins case.
Governor Kay Ivey making a visit in Fort Payne this morning to discuss a growing effort to bring high-speed internet to both DeKalb and Jackson counties. Governor Ivey was joined by speakers from the State House and Senate, as well as the Department of Economic and Community Affairs and Huntsville Hospital Health System CEO Jeff Sams. Speakers addressed the $16.7 million in grant and matching funds for 6 completed projects and 2 projects which are still in the works. Once all these projects are complete, more than 4,000 addresses will have broadband access in both DeKalb and Jackson counties.
This is a Pierce aerial. It's a 100-foot platform.
A new apparatus, one of very few in the entire state, called Tower 512, is here to service at what Monrovia Volunteer Fire Rescue calls a critical time of unprecedented growth.
Obviously, Cliff Farm played a huge role in why we purchased this equipment. In the last 2 years, we've had about 25 3-story or more structures built in our jurisdiction just in the Cliff Farm area, and all of those are going to be multifamily units. So having this capability, it's very, very necessary, but it's going to provide a greater service for our broader community as well.
For firefighter EMT James Roundtree, this new apparatus is not the only celebration. It's also the first day of his aerial class training.
It's going to be approximately 40 hours of hands-on and classroom training with a major focus on the hands-on training. We're getting a lot of unique experiences from surrounding departments. We're very lucky to have them join us to train, and we're going to have a very specialized group of people that will be responding on this and coming to calls. It increases our capabilities exponentially of what we're able to do on a fire scene.
Lieutenant Grant Thornton believes this ladder truck will also be beneficial for their neighboring county departments.
In the past, when we had fires that have either gotten away or we've needed a larger water suppression system, we've had to request either Madison or Huntsville Fire Department for their ladder truck to respond. So us being able to utilize our own ladder truck now is gonna help us out.
In Monrovia, Jasmine Bird, Fox 54 News.
Now, Fox 54 Top Teacher, sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
We're back with a new top teacher. This one we're about to meet has a heart for education. He's an ace at what he teaches, and to many, he would be considered a jack of all trades. His name is Hiram Holt, and he is Fox 54's Top Teacher of the Week from Discovery Middle School in Madison. Let's meet him. Welcome to Hiram Holt.
I'm a third-generation educator, and it's kind of in my blood.
Geography class.
So we're teaching landforms today. So they are creating as many landforms as they can with Rice Krispie treats and molding them and using starburst to create lava for a volcano and icing for a glacier just to have a little bit more fun with it.
Geography is one of the many subjects he teaches Discovery Middle Schoolers.
U.S. history, civics. I teach whatever they ask me to teach.
Oh, and world history, too. Holt said education is in his blood, but the bug is what got him here today.
I worked for the Indiana Senate and helped draft legislation. Worked for some colleges where I got the education bug.
Principal Jamie Hill believes that passion translates in the classroom.
And he is an all-in teacher. He is a relationship builder, connector. You'll see that today. He does a tremendous job for our students.
For Holt,
I think that teaching comes with challenges naturally.
He's learned a bit as a teacher in the 3 years he's been here.
It always comes down to caring for the kids and loving on them as much as they possibly can and trying to engage them with whatever their skill set is.
But it's the support from his peers and his students that keeps that fire for education bright.
Sometimes education can fire you up and sometimes it can burn you out. And moments like that are really important for firing people up, keeping the fire burning.
Congratulations, Hiram. Here's another fun fact about him. He's one of the people who gets kids to school. Yep, he's a school bus driver too. Learn more about him on fox54.com and nominate a teacher.
Artemis Virtual Academy is Huntsville City Schools' newest digital initiative. And the district will begin accepting applications for students starting tomorrow. Academy Principal Dr. Jennifer McKinney says Artemis could be ideal for families who frequently travel or students who just simply do better in virtual settings.
It is a hybrid virtual school option that is going to be open for students living in the Huntsville City School District in grades K through 12. So anyone that is currently living in Huntsville City Schools District is available or eligible to be able to apply.
All right, Artemis will have physical locations at Blossomwood Elementary and Lee High School when classes begin in the fall. There will be office hours for in-person meetings with teachers. Students will also be eligible for extracurricular activities like sports and band and will also be given school-issued devices. Visit fox54.com to learn more about Artemis Virtual Academy and begin the application process.
We expect a lot of interplay between the two venues, both the VBC and Front Row.
A new development will have Front Row access to all downtown has to offer.
So Front Row development is going to actually be a neighborhood. When you think about Nashville, you think of the Gulch. You've heard in New York City, you hear about Soho or Tribeca. We're building something that people are going to ultimately say, we're going to Front Row. We're going to see a show and go to Front Row. It'll contain 47,000 feet of retail space and about 35,000 feet of commercial Class A office space.
There will also be housing.
So we're standing now across the street from the future Front Row site. If you look down towards Monroe Street, we're going to have one building at the corner of Monroe and Clinton. That'll be a 6-story building. The ground floor will be retail. Probably at the corner there'll be a big bar restaurant. On the second floor of that building will be about 35,000 square feet of Class A office. And then 4 floors above that will be approximately 210 apartments.
Huntsville is growing in many ways that pique many developers' interest.
Our economic studies bore out the econometrics that Huntsville is going to be the next Austin. It's going to be the next Denver. We like the arc of its growth.
And existing sites like the VBC will play a unique role in development.
As Von Braun continues its renovation and expansion, where there'll be a greenery, a lawn, a front lawn of Von Braun, also a gathering place, so that the two would become even more integrated. And at the side of each, at the corner of each of the end of the park will be also very, very noteworthy food and beverage venues for people to enjoy after the show or before the show.
VBC was the first venue that we visited. We saw it as the cultural epicenter of downtown Huntsville. So we thought, why not play off all of that energy that the VBC is putting out there?
New developments like Front Road now in construction. Residents, though, are wondering how is this going to affect traffic? Huntsville city leaders say they have a plan. Arkin McCoy has more.
It can be very difficult working with city agencies.
Downtown's newest development wouldn't be possible without the city's input.
We work with the mayor and people in the mayor's office, and they've been helpful. They provided us a lot of good ideas, a lot of input.
So with the new development and expansion going on downtown, one thing to consider is how traffic will be affected. I spoke with Councilman Bill Kling, and he says the city already has a plan.
I did have some questions I had asked from the planning director concerning what the traffic flow is going to be. To me, I think traffic flow is one of the most important things we have.
Concerns about traffic can come with any added development, but the city of Huntsville looked ahead when it comes to these latest projects.
They'd been planning for it, and one of the things that they have done had been working to make sure that the Clinton Avenue interchange access that comes off the Parkway is well suited to handle that influx of traffic, because conventions, a lot of things that bring people into the city of Huntsville are going to be going directly into downtown.
These changes are to help improve traffic flow.
We're looking at things that are going to be quality of life. Can people get from point A to point B in their car as quickly as possible? Or is there going to be a long, convoluted delay? If so, then that's not a good thing.
These new projects also enhance the growing downtown scene.
I think this is one of the facets that's been done to help improve downtown. Additionally, there are lots of fun events that are taking place downtown, especially when we start getting into warmer weather. Concerts in the park, of course, will be coming back. Fridays, you have the food trucks and different events that take place.
But the investments don't stop there.
Additionally, a lot of money has been used to improve the sidewalks for the residential areas of downtown. I think they do have a good plan with the amount of traffic that they're projecting to come into the downtown area. And I'm confident it's going to work. Again, this is going to be a good development, but again, everyone's preparing for it because it's very important that we get it right the very first time.
For Fox 54 News, I'm Ken McCoy.
A local organization wants to make a brighter future for women of color. Huntsville's chapter of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women is hosting a feminine hygiene product drive. This comes after a 2023 bill that funded supplies for Alabama Title I schools, and the coalition decided to move beyond that to help more young ladies in need.
So what we learned through our research, nationally, there's 1 in 4 young ladies who either skip school or just don't attend school because they don't have what we consider a medical necessity. They don't have a feminine hygiene product or feminine hygiene products to attend school. So what we're attempting to do is minimize that anxiety and fear of not having what you need to be successful when you attend school.
Wow, well, the group will be collecting donations through March 1st. For more info on the project and how you can participate, head over to fox54.com. All right, Alabama A&M University is changing what we know about hemp. And today, the school's agricultural research team started at square one, telling us about the plant, the rules and policies. Our Jasmine Bird stopped by the campus today to tell us more.
I think the biggest thing is the public needs to start to understand the difference between hemp and cannabis.
Student researcher Blake Long has learned during his research that hemp is a weed that can be grown almost anywhere. But what some don't realize is it's not as easy to farm as it may seem.
Being able to grow hemp is even more difficult because we've not done any research in about 100 years. To be able to get the kind of results you want to have to do, you do have to plant at certain times a year. You do have to harvest at certain times a year.
Alabama Industrial Hemp Program Manager Gail Ellis believes that's why these hemp orientation meetings are so critical.
The more you learn about growing hemp before you actually grow it, the better you are in the end. The outcome is more successful.
Research geneticist and germplasm curator Zachary Stansel believes it's important to pay attention to how this industry will start developing over the next few years.
In my opinion, we don't know yet if it's going to become the next soybeans or kind of the specialty crop that's grown at a smaller scale. It's so exciting for me to visit and to see all of this incredible work that's being done, and it's an exciting time.
This is what we're going to use to grow indoor cannabis.
For local greenhouse farmer Jonathan Hall, the whole idea is to have a controlled climate
where we can produce, sustainable plants, whether it's hemp, whether it's vegetables. This system works through and through.
This is Hall's 4th year growing hemp.
It works through a pump. So we have a pump in the reservoir. It starts coming through this black hose you see here, and we have some emitters. So the emitters will actually drip water onto these Rockwell cubes that will have the soil that the actual plant is in, and it continuously dose it, just very slowly introducing water to the system. With that, the water will be collected in a bucket about halfway, and it'll sustain that level. So instead of soil, we'll use these rocks. It's a sustainable way to have a base. You put your seeds in these holes. We usually this shelf right here with the lights on it to get it to germinate and start making seedlings.
And for Alabama A&M student researcher Blake Long, it's important for any and everyone to know the differences between hemp and cannabis.
Because, we have potential to be a huge state for growing hemp, but I think a lot of the older farmers, as well as a lot of people who write the laws, need to start to understand the difference between the two, or we're not really going to get anywhere. The South is a great place, and we have a lot of agricultural land, and this could be another great crop to add into a lot of the rotations that we use. We just kind of have to get people on board with it, which will take time, and will take money, and will take people changing.
In Hazel Green, Jasmine Bird, Fox 54 News.
Rocket City has a new face to lead Marshall Space Flight Center. Today, NASA named Joseph Pelfrey as the new director of the Marshall Space Flight Center. He served as the center's acting director since July of last year. Pelfrey succeeds Jody Singer, who has retired. He began his career at NASA as an aerospace engineer and went on to serve in various leadership roles within the ISS program and the SLS spacecraft. Congratulations to him, and Mayor Tommy Battle sending his congratulations to the new director, sharing, quote, "During Pelfrey's time as acting center director, Marshall hasn't missed a beat. He was a hometown candidate, and I'm grateful he will be staying and leading in the Rocket City for years to come," end quote. And Congressman Robert Adderholt also congratulating Pelfrey, sharing, quote, "With 2 decades of service, Joseph brings a passion for innovation and exploration into this role as he leads a team of 7,000 employees and oversees a budget of roughly $5 billion. I'm eager to work with Director Pelfrey to ensure Marshall remains at the forefront of human spaceflight, science, and technology development efforts," end quote.
Black History Month on Fox 54 is sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
At Fox 54, we're celebrating Black history all month long, and tonight we begin with the first of many inspiring stories at the barbershop, a safe space and often a place of therapy for Black men in their communities. And here's a fun fact: Black barbers were first introduced to America in the 19th century, according to the National Association of Barbers. Today, our Jasmine Bird takes us to where it all started for one Black barber, steadily making history and breaking barriers in the Athens community.
As a barber, you see the realness in your chair.
Meet Tito Reedus, owner of Reedus Barbershop. Reedus has been a barber in the Athens community since 1991.
Well, it goes a little ways back. After graduation, I was working, and a friend of mine happened to be at the barbershop. Stopped by to talk to the guy that owned the shop, which the owner at that time was Mr. Walter Malone. So never knew that this was going to be the start of my future.
And this is where it all started.
I was 19 years old when this all started about. And my journey started here, which the building belonged to Walter Malone. He's deceased now, but the building still stands to this day.
Reedus was there from 1991 until 1994. After that, he moved to another location.
It was just 908 West Washington Street. And we stayed here from 94 to 2001.
After that, Reedus desired a location of his own.
So in 2002, I purchased this spot here, which sits at 842 Westview Avenue. I sits on 2 acres of land, and this house was along with the 2 acres. I renovated the house. And we cut in the house from 2002 to 2007.
And in June of 2007, construction began on Reedus's new building, which he currently owns and cuts hair in today.
And God did a great thing. So this is the new building that was built at 842 Westview Avenue, which now houses, which I own. The building houses 3 units, which is 1,800 square feet per unit. All-in-one laundry, Reedus Barbershop, and it'll be now. It's in the making of the event center, which will be all-in-one plaza event center.
Reedus believes this is just all a part of his purpose.
I believe that's why God had me in here for this position, to be able to talk to people. I talk to many.
Right next door, Reedus's all-in-one laundry is also a fully attended laundromat.
I staff 3 workers, 1 full-time with benefits. No other laundromat in Athens does that.
And as for the new first Black-owned Athens Event Center he currently has in the works.
This will maybe be the 2nd event center that's around in the community, but this was actually owned by me. It would allow for little birthday parties and dinners and things in that nature, so it'll be very helpful for this community.
In Athens, Jasmine Bird, Fox 54 News.
Making Huntsville a destination for soccer has long been a goal of the city's sports and tourism organizations. And another step was taken in that direction today when the City of Huntsville, the Sports Commission, and Huntsville City Football Club jointly announced the inaugural Huntsville City Soccer Fest. 40 matches from the professionals at HCFC down to the high school junior varsity ranks will take place here in town over 3 days in February. At the end of this month, it's set to be a really busy weekend, but that's kind of the point. Organizers intended to make President's Day weekend synonymous with the sport of soccer.
You know, when we first had the vision of building this right here for professional soccer, we were talking about the vision of being inclusive and going all the way down to the youth sports and all the way up through the professional sports and make this really what we call a soccer town. This is one of those events that's going to do that.
All of these soccer assets, how we bring them together and really put our flag on a weekend, and it looked like President's Day weekend would be perfect. We'll look back and we'll remember this weekend as when Huntsville, Alabama became the epicenter of soccer in the Southeast.
Being inclusive of all levels of soccer is especially encouraging for young players, says Huntsville High head boys soccer coach Bobby Sadade.
They're going to see professional teams training, practicing. They're going to watch the games because HCFC, they're giving the kids free tickets to come to the games. That's incentive for those kids. Hey, I see professional soccer here in my city. I have the opportunity. I could get to that level if I want to.
We must first celebrate our most accurate weather team. Today is National Weather Person's Day. The day commemorates the birth of John Jeffries, who was one of America's first weather observers. And a fun fact, according to Mississippi State, 1/3 of on-air meteorologists are trained through MSU. Our Jordan Dressman, well, that's Emily there, but there he is, and Emily Owen are both Bulldogs alumni. Well, happy National Weather Person's Day, Jordan.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Very much appreciated. On the note of Mississippi State, I believe every station in this market has at least one, if not more than one, Mississippi State alumni, which, yes, competition and everything, but it's still very cool that there are so many Mississippi State grads around.
That's awesome. I mean, highly regarded program there.
It is.
Obviously. Yeah, and this is your what for you?
Oh boy. I started in 16 in Idaho, and it's 24. Boy, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 9th year in television. Wow, I'm getting old.
You're reaching the Big Ten. We love the counting, Jordan. Gotta cut him some slack, though. He leads the most accurate weather team in North Alabama, after all. That'll do it for this edition of This Week in Review. Remember your Fox 54 mobile app for breaking news and weather on the go. And keep watching Fox 54 Plus for more exclusive content. For everyone at Fox 54 News, I'm Kenesha Dees. See you next time.